What's up, everybody? Meredith Whitney, deemed the Oracle of Wall Street for successfully calling the financial crisis, says home prices will fall 20%, but not for the reasons you think. In fact, she's blaming a crisis of the young American men for this downfall. If she is correct, home prices will be in jeopardy for many years to come, causing one of the biggest corrections since the housing market crash of 2008. So today, we'll go through Whitney's theory and see if the other industry experts agree with her. We'll take a look at an article by Alena Botros for Fortune called "The Growing Crisis of the Young American Male Could Send Home Prices Falling for Years or Even Decades," says the Oracle of Wall Street, and break it all down. And as usual, I will chime in with my opinion as well. So let's dive right in. In a recent research paper she published titled "The Crisis of the Young American Male and the Long-Term Impact on Housing Demand," Whitney says she believes housing prices will start to go down dramatically, resulting in home prices being 20% lower than they are today. "I think you're going to start to see housing prices begin a multi-year decade decline, just due to supply-demand dynamics," Whitney said. "So you've had a demand-supply imbalance, more demand, less supply, and I think that's going to invert. So what that means is supply will then outweigh demand, which is why she sees home prices falling for years. She thinks that this supply-demand equation will reverse due to young men choosing to stay at home and live with their parents rather than buy a house, while the baby boomers start to unload their homes onto the market. More homes on the market with less buyers interested in buying them will cause this dramatic shift from what we're experiencing now, which is a low inventory, higher demand market." So let's break down the supply component first. Whitney has previously spoke about a silver tsunami set to strike the housing market as baby boomers age and their homes are freed up. She cites that most of the U.S. housing is owned by older people. 90% of them are over 40 years old, 74% are over 50 years old, and 56% are over 60 years old. As the baby boomers age and downsize, she estimates around 45 million homes will come on the market. That's huge supply given the existing number of transactions was 7 million and that the current number of supply is just over 4 million. "You have a supply gut that is inevitably gonna hit the market," Whitney said. "More supply, or better said, supply that outweighs demand, will trigger a drop in home prices. Normally, you would think as rates go up, home prices would come down, and that hasn't happened over the last 2 years," she said. "I think home prices will normalize because as more inventory, more supply comes on the market, you'll see a true clearing price that is lower than it is today. So I would say 20% lower than it is today." Botros reminds us in her article that home prices rose 6% in January, and a lot of people think they're going to keep going up. In January, Goldman Sachs predicted home prices will rise 5% this year and 3.7% next year. In March, Capital Economics predicted home prices will rise 5% this year. This month, CoreLogic predicted U.S. home prices will rise 3.1% this year. And a recent analysis by Freddie Mac concludes that even with a supposed 9 million homes set to come on the market in the next decade as baby boomers age, it really won't disrupt the market. Some have warned of a silver tsunami as aging boomers look to sell their homes, flooding the market with inventory, the Freddie Mac report read. But as this analysis demonstrates, the tsunami is more like a tide, bringing a gradual exit that will mostly be offset by new entrants. They believe the disruption will be minimal because the demand will continue to increase. This is where Whitney differs. She argues that young American men are the game-changing element that no one is talking about. What she calls the avocado toast generation, younger millennials plus Generation Z, aren't buying homes at the same rate. And there's also the highest percentage of young men on record. 1 out of 5 young men live at home with their parents, she said. You have men staying single longer. And then you have what I call a growing crisis of the young American male. They're twice as likely to live at home than women. So 1 out of 5 young men live at home with their parents, and these aren't young men going to college and coming home for holiday breaks. These are young, grown men choosing to live at home, Whitney told CNBC. She adds that household formations are the lowest they've been in more than a century, which translates into a demand problem. Without more couples seeking to buy homes, supply will eventually outweigh demand, which is why she predicts home prices falling for years to come. The data that she's working with is unclear, but she does seem sure that lower than ever interest rates ballooned inflation, and particularly housing inflation, pricing many unattached young adults out of the housing market. If you're single, the chances that you're going to be able to afford a home on your own is less likely than if you're a dual income family, Whitney said. Then she goes on to say that homeowners hold much more wealth than non-homeowners. Yet, many experts have predicted that home prices will only continue to go up from here. Mortgage rates reached a 2-decade high last year, and yet people kept buying homes. And because there simply aren't enough homes, demand outweighs supply, keeping home prices high. Additionally, Eric Finnegan, Vice President of Demographics at John Burns Research and Consulting, recently told Fortune that baby boomers aren't going to crash the market anytime soon because they're the ones who are powering it. His team found that it takes about 4 deaths to equate to 1 house listed for sale, because a partner may hold on to it or it may be passed down to their children. The number of homes listed for sale due to deaths is rising and will continue to do so. But it's not a deluge, Finnegan said. It's not a tidal wave of homes being listed for sale because of all these dying baby boomers. Steve Goldstein from MarketWatch points out that what's missing at Whitney's analysis is the recent impact of a surge in immigration. The Congressional Budget Office estimated that the net immigration was 2.6 million in 2022 and 3.3 million in 2023, far higher than the 900,000 average between 2010 and 2019. While the CBO does expect that growth to cool, immigration could limit the impact of both seniors selling and young men still living at home. But the bottom line is that with more supply, home prices will calm down. It's just a matter of how much more supply will hit the market and what the demand will be when that happens. Lawrence Yun, the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors, does foresee an increase in inventory in 2024. There will be a steady rise in inventory from recent growth in home building, he said in NAR's most recent pending home sales analysis. Additionally, many sellers who delayed listing in the past 2 years will begin to put their homes on the market to move to a different home that better fits their new life circumstances, such as changes in family composition, jobs, commuting patterns, and retirees wanting to be closer to their grandkids. While this increase in inventory is much needed, it will most likely not make a significant difference in home prices at this time. Home price appreciation can only moderate from drastically improved supply. Another 30% rise in home construction can easily be absorbed in the marketplace, Yoon said. Chen Zhao, Redfin's chief economist, agrees. As more time passes, more homeowners may be forced to sell due to life events, so inventory may rise from the current anemic levels, but it is unlikely to increase much. That means that prices are unlikely to fall on a year-over-year basis unless demand falters. So what do you all think of Whitney's theory of an upcoming shift in the demand-supply equation? Comment below and let's discuss, because one thing we can all agree on, if that does shift, if the demand becomes less than supply, home prices will fall. Let's end the video with the most recent data on our current housing market. In Redfin's latest housing market update for the 4 weeks ending March 31st, new listings are up 8.4% year over year, and active listings are also up 6.9% year over year. The median days on market is 39 days, down 1 day from a year ago. 43% of the homes did sell in the first 2 weeks, unchanged from a year ago. 27.6% of the homes did sell above their list price, up from 27% a year ago. And 5.6% of the homes did have a price drop, up 1.2 points from a year ago. And the daily average of a 30-year fixed mortgage rate was 7.07% on April 3rd, up from 6.91% a week earlier, and up from 6.44% a year earlier, according to Mortgage News Daily. If you missed last week's video where we discussed Barbara Corcoran's opinion of the future of the housing market and the NAR settlement and how that will affect it, definitely check that out next. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Bye!